Heather, welcome to Growing Pains. I am so excited to have you.
We're here. We finally got to hit record after all these tech issues.
Oh my gosh. We were talking just quickly, and I want to just admire you publicly for anybody who's listening. Like being a beginner, it's so hard sometimes, especially when you've been doing this. I mean, you've got hundreds of podcast episodes under your belt between your podcast and others that you've been able to share your wisdom on. And honestly, it's so wonderful to watch because I think we always think everybody's light years ahead of us and that everybody's got everything figured out. And I just want to say that it was fun to watch you be a beginner for a quick second.
Just so annoying. I mean, I've been podcasting for almost like a decade, and it used to bring me so much joy just to find like reprieve and go in my car and open voice notes on my phone and talk to myself. And now they're like, you need a professional setup and you need to do this. And oh, so new level, new devil.
It's so true. And the world of podcasting has changed so much in the last 10 years. Like, my goodness, I feel like you have to bring like so much caliber to some of these conversations. But I have a feeling that we are going to do the thing that's always going to be true about podcasting, which is having a fantastic conversation. So, Heather, for the moms listening, why don't you give just a little bit of background about how you got here, and a little bit too about your family at home?
How did I get here? What? I didn't give up. Let's just say that. I didn't quit. I didn't give up. My background is actually in social work, and motherhood in general just became a topic I was very passionate about because I was 18 years old when I became a mom. And I just was like, this, I feel like I'm failing. I already came into this early single and trying to figure it all out by myself, feeling alone in the world. And then, of course, your kids, they just have a way of pushing the buttons, and it's personal growth on steroids, but nobody tells you that. It's a spiritual stretch. It is like it will get you at every angle you never thought possible. And I
Mm.
felt like I was screaming to the world, like looking around for mentorship and role models. Like I am that type of person that I'm like, please help. Please help me. Like I will invest. I will do the work. I will lean in. I can feel the shame and the like, I'm supposed to know this by myself. But I couldn't find other women that were feeding themselves, like not feeling like they were physically dying and being the mother that they wanted to be. So then I kind of went on my own journey to figure that out. And after becoming a social worker and working with families and going, oh my gosh, we're literally labeling behavior. We are not giving like root cause, like we're not supporting cause. So that kind of brought me down the trajectory of like meditation and mindfulness. And I left social work and then started, jumped into the online space before it was cool. And people are like, what is Zoom? We actually used Skype back then. And I talked a lot about the parent-child relationship. And then as I evolved and as my like community evolved, like, yes, my kids were getting older. I have 3 boys. They're now 20, 15, and 12. They always change their ages. And then I'm like, how old are you again? But as they aged and I just had more experience under my belt, I'm like, oh, what's happening at home? You're also doing this in your work, whether you're corporate or whether you're a business owner or you're like a domestic goddess, like engineering goddess, where whoever you are in the world, like it's showing up in your relationships, but it's in other areas too. And then in 2013, I was diagnosed with a stage 4 cancer. I was in startup in my business. So I already left social work as like 6 months in. That's like, I was like signed the dotted line and then got the diagnosis. So I was just
Wow.
starting to gain momentum and we didn't have the financial privilege, which I know you're incredibly passionate about. We didn't have the financial privilege for me not to work at that point. So that was a huge learning lesson. I just have had so many like no backdoor moments where I didn't have the privilege not to work. So I was literally taking calls from my hospital bed while someone else is taking care of the kids most of the time because I didn't have the mental and emotional capacity to do that. I was sick.
Mm.
Yeah, just like demystifying all the beliefs as a woman who makes the money. I'm not allowed to have financial literacy skills because he knows more than me. Having the courage to go after what I want, feeding
Mm.
myself, my mind, my body, my soul, my spirit. So, all of these things, plus trying to see and understand and figure out my children's emotional behavior has kind of been my mission and message up to this point. And now, where I am, I just truly believe a well-resourced woman, like time, energy, and money, is the secret that she is seeking. It's in every, if you get to the core of every personal development book, that's all it is. Work on you, work on you. But
Yeah.
as women, we are so taught to give, 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 give. I mean, we all have heard it, like self-care is selfish. And I just believe if you learn to receive, you are giving so much more to the world. But you almost need to, like, I don't want to say have a rock bottom, but you need to have a few shitty moments to really understand what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, you have to feel the negative in order to appreciate the positive sometimes. Like, I really do believe that to be true about, I mean, my postpartum experience. We talked about that quite a bit on your show, but I loved a moment there, what you said around labeling things, but not healing them. And I want to double click on that because I think we are, as women, I mean, labels and labels, page after page after page of this opinion or this label from this community. So why do we do that to each other, to ourselves? We put a label on ourselves, but then we aren't encouraged to find resources, options for how to change those circumstances or potentially even remove the label, right?
I mean, it's easier to label and quote unquote diagnose or
Mhm.
even create little marketable terms like imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have imposter syndrome. Okay, great. Like, what do you wanna do about it? I do believe we get to keep what we defend, and it all comes
Mm.
down, like, the root, if we look at everything, it's fear. We have to look at the stories that we've been told as women or our lineage from our mothers and our grandmothers and all of that. Cultural oppression, of course, is a big, big thing, but I have been leaning into, like, I'm a white woman with immense privilege. Some of that has been hard ass work, and most of that, I had a few steps ahead, right? Like where I was born, color, all of that. But I'm like, what am I going to do with this extra that I have? What am I going to do with this voice? What am I going to do with this quote unquote privilege, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, financial privilege? And I believe that the best thing I can do is to pass the mic and create those resources for other women or give them that wisdom. But it wasn't until I almost died when I had my cancer diagnosis that I had 9 years of personal development under my belt. And I was reading the books and I was like, give me the practical way to feel
Mm.
alive and energized. Like, I don't just want to survive cancer. And like, just consider this. If you haven't had a health diagnosis, like cross out cancer and put like, I don't just want to survive motherhood. I don't just
Mm.
want to survive my life. I don't just want to make enough in my business. I want extra. And
Mm.
I didn't know what extra looked like in physical form. And so I had to figure that out from the inside out. And so I asked myself, how do I want to feel? And I'm like, I want to feel alive. But Alyson, I had no fucking clue what aliveness felt like. And then that was when I went on the journey of feeling alive, which, yes, looks like health. It looks like having more. It looks like having extra. And that's why I called my podcast Emotionally Uncomfortable, because I realized how scary it was as a woman to feel alive
Mm.
and have extra and to feel good and to feel healthy. So I know before we hit record, we were talking about like tough love, and people will say to me, I stopped listening to your podcast because you triggered me, because I didn't want to look at those parts of myself. And
Mm.
I think I get a little tough lovey because like, and it actually makes me emotional and I can feel it right now because I wish a woman would have stood up for me like that. Like when I first became a mom, when I like, there's a few moments I can say of women in my life that like looked me dead square in the eyes and said, honey, get the fuck out of bed, get in the shower. I'm going to hold the baby. Let's go.
Mm.
Or I've got you. Let's go. I didn't have women like that around me. And so I think like, I'm really on a mission to become that woman for other people. So when I hear people say, I feel guilty for having more, I'm like, wow, that is the most selfish thing I've ever heard. Give it back.
Mm.
Give it back. Give opportunity to people who don't have it. What do you do with your wisdom? What do you do with your skills? What do you do with your education? Be fucking profitable, be wealthy as fuck, and then help
Yeah.
other people to do the exact same thing. And so there's that like that grittiness inside of me that's like, it's yes, I want to be here to help women, but I also like my true passion is helping children thrive. But we
Mm.
cannot help children thrive if the adults aren't thriving. And so that little angry, tough love comes from I see the oppression that women are continuing to perpetuate within themselves. And I even see it online when it comes to couples counseling of like, he wasn't filling my need or my partner wasn't fulfilling my need and I'm like, yeah, but you're not feeding yourself. Like
Exactly.
we're not learning communication skills because we're so disconnected from our core selves that we don't know how to give, we don't know how to communicate, we don't know how to articulate, we don't know how to receive. So, as you can see, I can go in a soapbox about this. I don't even
Honestly,
remember the original question you asked me.
I think it went into whatever better place it could have possibly gone because I feel this very deeply, especially when it comes to, I mean, the women listening to the show are pregnant, early postpartum, running a business. I mean, I felt this so deeply when I was postpartum with my first son. And my business needed so much of me. And I do remember feeling guilty for doing something simple like going and doing a workout because the baby was crying and my husband was responsible for being with him. And it wasn't that I thought he was incapable of doing it. I just thought there was this badge of honor, like I need to be the one who's doing it. So, how do we start the process of unlearning that? Because whether it's society or our parents and grandparents before us, or ourselves, or our friends, or the community that we're in, there's this rhetoric around motherhood that motherhood equals suffering, or motherhood equals putting everybody else first except for you. That's what was modeled to me personally as a child. That was what was modeled to my mother as a child. And so, how do we start unlearning that?
When I was diagnosed with cancer, I remember having this moment of like checking this invisible suffering box. I can't
Mm.
explain it, but I was like, I am done. I will never get to this point in my life again.
Mm.
And I understood the difference between suffering and emotional discomfort. That it's like beating your face against a wall versus somebody like that's suffering versus someone that's like 6 feet over going, the wall ends over here. Just lean against the wall and you don't have to beat your face against it.
Mhm.
And I remember one time I had a mentor, and that's essentially what she said to me. She's like, "You're stop running towards the wall. Like you're gonna hurt yourself. Like
Mm.
you're burning out. Just lean against your resistance, lean against the fear. Don't avoid it. Just look at it. Lean against it and just lean into it. Push slightly, and it eventually will break." And that's a visual representation of what that means to unlearn these patterns as women. Number one, start questioning it. If it's not aligned for you, just be honest. This no longer works for me. I don't
Mm.
want to work like this. I want more time flexibility. I want to make more money and have more white space on my calendar. I want to spend more quality time with my children. I don't want to entertain them like it looks like everyone else is. I want to feel like I'm in a partnership. What do you want? And then when you catch yourself going, oh, well, I'm not allowed to have that. It's not about giving yourself full permission to be like, I'm going to have whatever the fuck I want. It's about saying, let me just lean in to how do I want to feel and how can I just challenge ever so slightly to to break those patterns within yourself. Like it might be something like someone texts you and this person is annoying AF and they're always on you. It could be your mother-in-law, someone, that person that's always like, I need you, I need you. And you literally always go to their rescue. Maybe this time you're like, I'm going to wait a day to respond. I'm not going to respond. It's not an SOS. Like just lean in, challenge your brain to show up differently.
Mm. I think even recognizing some of that stuff is so powerful because then what you're training yourself, and I remember doing this in early-ish motherhood, is I was like, I need to start listening to my body. Cause like my body sometimes knows before my brain knows, if that makes sense. You know, when you get, I mean, to just use your example of that text message, you get that text message from that friend, and then first your body feels it and then your brain feels it, right? So it's like I have this gut reaction, it's not for me, and then my brain tells me, well, because I've always responded, I need to continue to do that. So is there something that we can do to like work through those types of habit breaking moments where we can justify it to ourselves, hopefully, right? Like emotionally speaking. And I remember doing my first personal development and being like so dang uncomfortable. I felt like I had to do it too, like off to the side, and I had to like work in my own little silo, and I didn't want my kids to see, and I didn't really want my husband to see like some of the challenges I was going through. So how do we like work through these emotions publicly? Because I'm sure that it's really tough to like allow our kids to witness us being a total mess sometimes. And then when we start to treat folks differently and they perceive us holding these boundaries or doing this personal work, like how do we manage the external around that? I mean, honestly, I'm firstborn, by the way. So like I've always been the
I
one
could
like
have called that.
managing everybody. So when I started doing this work, I was like, "Oh, I'm not doing the white elephant organization for Christmas anymore." And my brothers were like, "Oh, but I just didn't want to do it anymore." So like I was really challenged by what they were going to think of me.
Yeah. So you cannot, even the way you ask the question is like, how do I control externally?
Mm.
We cannot control anything outside of ourselves. So we're talking about like the theme of motherhood in general. What I often see is whatever got you here is not going to get you to the next phase or stage of your life. And it may be
Mhm.
showing up in your business or your career or a partnership or your relationship in motherhood to your children, or like something is coming up, your health.
Mhm.
Like you were talking about like symptoms, like your body knows, like it's there, you know.
Yeah.
There's a few like journal prompts that I like to tell people, but your question was like, how do you go about doing this when you don't want other people to know about it? And that is just vulnerability. And it's okay if you are not okay to do this work. But again, lean in, it's a muscle. So working out used to be really uncomfortable for me. And I wouldn't say that I really enjoy it these days. I just do it because I need to. I mean, after a few days, my brain is like, do something where the old me, but I don't like, it's not my go-to. It's not something that I would do to avoid doing other things. My point of saying that is it's a muscle, it's a workout.
Mhm.
Vulnerability is the same thing, but people are like, oh, I don't like being vulnerable or emotions are weak or whatever it is. But that's how you cultivate and create connection, like connection with the
Mhm.
people that you care about most. So, personal development is essential for growth. and just lean in. You're going to cry. It's going to be uncomfortable. I like to use the prompt, like there's a few of them. So, number one, for your journal or in the notes section of your app, and then like delete it later. Just do what you need to do just to like lean into the discomfort of it. What's working and what's not working.
Mm.
So, having a what's working list. So, these are things they're working because they feel good. They're working because they feel aligned. What's not working is feels like shit. It feels misaligned for you. Those are breadcrumbs. Those are data. That is like symptomatic what's
Mhm.
working and not working. But what do? We look at the not working list and we just power through, right? We're not changing it. So we're just not listening to the symptoms of our life, our relationships. I like a not this list, which is something you no longer want to experience. Not this,
Mm.
not this, not this. Last list that I tell people to create is your wouldn't it be nice if list. I'm not asking you what you want. I'm not asking you what your dreams are because most of the time people say, I don't know. I don't know
Mhm.
what I want. I don't know where I want to go. Why? Because we're so overwhelmed. Also, if we actually gave ourselves permission to want what we want, shit, then we got to go after it. Well, if I say I don't know, then I don't have to take action on it. So it's actually a block
Mm.
in itself. But I like to use the term or the phrase, wouldn't it be nice if, and whatever, you're just 5 minutes and go for a walk when
Mhm.
you're doing this, in the car or do it on the toilet. I don't care what you do. Lock yourself in the closet. 5 minutes. Wouldn't it be nice if? Wouldn't it be nice if someone could bring me a glass of water? Wouldn't it be nice if it was sunny outside? Wouldn't it be nice if I could have Friday off? Wouldn't it be nice if somebody else thought about dinner? Wouldn't it be nice if I didn't worry about money? Wouldn't it be
Mhm.
nice if we hit our revenue goal this year and I could just like work less? Wouldn't it be nice if this person on the team took the lead on this? I write these like lists all the time. I actually do it for individual people on my team as well. I'll do it for my husband. I'll do it for the kids. I ask the kids to do it for me. Everyone does it
Mm.
because number one, you're getting your desires out. Little desires, big desires. These desires are inside of you for you. But here's the thing, these desires, you can have the goal. You can have the money goal. You can have the weight loss goal. You can have the connection goal, the good night sleep goal. But there's a feeling that you're after. Next to every line and on any of those lists that I gave you, the what's working, what's not working, ask yourself, what's the feeling that I'm after?
Mm.
What's not working? The amount of hours that I'm working. That is not working. Okay, cool. How do you want to feel? I want to feel free. I want to feel spacious. Write that down. Once you're clear on the feelings that you're really after, then that becomes your North Star. That becomes the goal. It doesn't become restrictive. You're not like beating your face against that wall. You're leaning into the wall and you're like, how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel? So, like going back to when I had stage 4 cancer, my youngest was a year, and I'm like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to be in a panic. How do I want to feel? I want to feel alive. Well, Heather, what does aliveness feel like? And on day one, that was getting out of bed and taking a shower. An alive person would take a shower. She would care about herself. She would take just those moments to invest in how she wants to feel. And so I've been using that strategy like daily for the last 10 plus years. And it has gotten me to where I am today, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. And I just rinse and repeat what's aligned, what's not aligned. And knowing that sometimes you do need to do shit you don't want to do. You
Mhm.
have to lean in. You're going to feel those moments of discomfort. But if you can start to align your life with how you want to feel, that's when you look at the woman next to you and you say, honey, it doesn't have to be so hard.
Mhm.
Like, hire it out. Oh, I can't afford that. You know what? Then maybe don't buy that brand new car. You know what? Maybe you don't need to go to Disney every year with your kids. Let's reprioritize what's really important, which is our health, our mental health, our physical health, our financial health, our health of our children, relationships. Like, who fucking cares about the Joneses? It's really about how do you want to feel? Because that's what matters most is your relationships. But we're not even considering that when we're so focused on pleasing everybody else and the strategies.
Honestly, Heather, I love a lot of what you've just brought to the table here, and I think optimizing your life for day-to-day wellness and day-to-day desires versus I've known so many families, business owners, everyone who just delays their connection with their family for that annual vacation, or they delay the connection with their spouse until date night, or whatever that looks like for families internally. But I love that you're bringing this kind of daily practice of desire. And I love the listing. I jotted down a couple of those prompts myself for my journaling practice. And it feels like a really low barrier to entry for just starting to get a handle on what we really want and what really excites us about being alive. I love that you use that term. If we find like no time richness in our life. Like if we're wondering, I can't even journal or I can't even do blah, 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 right? There's probably somebody listening who's like, 5 minutes, I barely am able to get up before my baby in the morning or whatever that looks like. What can they do?
Well, if you're saying that, I'll give you some strategies. But if you are saying that, like, you just have to ask yourself, how can I?
Mm.
Right. And
Mhm.
like, if you're not going to create space for how you want to feel, you're going to have a lot of space for how you don't want to feel.
Mm.
But I do have a time rich reset. And I give you a PDF, I give you a video on how to go step by step by step through this process. You have to remember you're retraining your brain, you're retraining your identity and how you show up in the world. And I am very motivated to support everyone else but myself. Like, in whatever way I do my thing, it's always in service to others. But I just know, and it's so cliche and tacky, you can't pour from an empty cup. But yeah, the time rich reset, just it's a simple step by step process. Check out the podcast, Emotionally Uncomfortable. Just start to lean into these conversations and just challenge yourself slightly. What can you do for 5 to 10 minutes a day?
I love that. Just committing to the 5 or 10 minutes. And I'll link the time rich reset in the show notes for you guys too to go and snag. It's amazing. And it feels like such a great first step, especially if you're in the thick of, planning for maternity leave or early postpartum and you're starting to feel those feelings of, oh my gosh, I've committed myself in way too many directions, or I'm doing these things because so and so is doing them. It doesn't really feel like it's aligned for me. I remember learning my intuition postpartum, and it
Yep.
was a very estranged friend, let's just say that. I didn't really know what I didn't know. And I think the thing that I'd love to kind of just land us around here on the show, first of all, thank you for coming in and supporting everyone listening so wholeheartedly. I think these strategies are simple and effective and so core to being able to move into a more aligned and fulfilling life. But I remember there was a moment when I was postpartum with my son and I had just like missed the trash can. I told this story on your podcast and it was such a small and insignificant moment, but I had this very, very emotional and visceral reaction to missing this trash can. And I remember telling my husband, like, I don't know what I need, but I just know that I need support. And so I think the thing I'll ask last is like, how can we advocate for each other, like as women? Like, how can we support each other if we do observe a friend or a friend observes us and we know that we can support them to just say, hey, I'm waving the white flag. Like, I don't know what I don't know. And I just know it's not this. And I just need some help. Like, how can we support each other?
I just want to say show up and do the damn thing. Show up for them the way that you would want someone to show up for you. Someone in my family just had their first baby. And so I'm going to honor their boundaries, but I know they're not going to ask. And so I'm just going to show up. I'll give them a little bit of space and I might trigger them and piss them off. And that's okay. I'm not going to barge in. I might put some food on the porch or something, but
Mhm.
show up and do the damn thing. And when you can see people are struggling, I would say most of my life, if you ask everybody in my inner circle, they will say, Heather's the person that you will hear from once a year. But when you see her and she knows that there's something wrong with you, she's gonna make the connection and she's gonna call you out in a loving way because she truly cares about you. And I have learned that, triggering other people because you tell them the truth is the purest kind of love. And people have said, you are the person that I know will tell me what I actually need to hear, not what I want to hear. And the older I get, the more I respect that because that it just, people can tell you care when you actually care. And you can just flat out say to someone, I might be overstepping, but I just wanted to share my observation. And sometimes people are not open to receiving, and they're going to have a train wreck. And that is not yours to manage either. So that too is something that you have to manage within yourself when you can see people struggling. So make the invitation, but remember, it's not your job to make people walk through the door.
Mm. So powerful. I feel like we should do a part 2 here because there's so much that we haven't quite covered and just so much work to be done. Yeah, like I think it's really interesting. I love that you positioned this as a muscle because I think a lot of times there are seasons where I feel like I've done the work and I feel like I'm in a groove and it's all well. And then you enter into another season or circumstances change and then you can kind of rely on that muscle you've built. So go get the time rich reset, y'all, if you're listening and you want to just have a hard line in the sand around this. Heather, your work is amazing. Anything else that you want to leave listeners with before I return you back to your day?
No, that's it. Just check out the podcast, Emotionally Uncomfortable. I always like to, if people listen to this episode, send me a message on Instagram. Let me know, slip into the DM and just let me know your biggest takeaway.
So radio hosty. I love it. I hope you guys do that. Thank you so much, Heather, for joining me. It's, as always, a pleasure to chat with you.